Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is farel Adlufi. I am from 7.5 of Junior High School Bilingual Muslimat and Upucang. I will read material about Ramadan. Ramadan is the main 9th month in the Hijri calendar. This month, Muslims all over the world observe, fast or Saum and commemorate the first revelation that came down to the Prophet Muhammad according to Muslim beliefs. Ramadan fasting is one of the pillars of Islam. The month of Ramadan will last for 29 until 30 days based on the Hilal observation according to several rules written in the Hadith. The word Ramadan comes from the Arabic root Romida or Aromad, which means scorching heat or drought. According to Islamic law, fasting in Ramadan is fardu or mandatory for adult Muslims unless they experience obstacles to doing so, such as illness, traveling, old age, pregnancy, breastfeeding, diabetes, or are experiencing menstruation. The obligation to fast during the month of Ramadan is stipulated in the month of Saban, the second year after the migration of Muslims from Mecca to Medina. The month of Ramadan begins with the determination of the Christian month as a sign of the new moon. During fasting from morning to evening, Muslims are prohibited from consuming or eating, drinking, including smoking, anything, and having sex. In addition, they are ordered to avoid committing sins to complete the reward of fasting, such as saying bad things or such as insulting, slandering, cursing, lying, and fighting. Food and drink can be prohibited every day from before sunrise or Fajr to sunset or Maghrib. Spiritual approach or repentance when the month of Ramadan is busy. Fasting from Muslim during Ramadan is usually followed by increasing the number of prayer and reading the Quran. Ramadan fasting is fasting which is carried out in the month of Ramadan, which has a number of days between 29 and 30 days. The time for implementing Ramadan fasting starts when the sunrise at dawn to sunset. The process is to refrain from eating, drinking, and other activities that can break the fast. According to Islamic teachings, fasting in the month of Ramadan can erase mistake or sin that have been committed as long as it is done with faith and expect a reward from the pleasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fasting during the month of Ramadan is the implementation of the fourth pillar of Islam. Ramadan, also spelled Ramadan, Ramzan, Ramadan, or Ramadan, is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, observed by Muslim worldwide as a month of fasting or saum, prayer, reflection, and community commemoration of Muhammad's first revelation. The annual observance of Ramadan is regarded as one of the five pillars of Islam and lasts 29 to 30 days from one sinking of the crescent moon to the next. From top left to right, a crescent moon over Sericam, Turkey, marking the beginning of the Islamic month of Ramadan. Ramadan Quran reading in Bandar Turkmen, Iran. Community iftar meal in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Taraweh prayers in a mosque in West Sumatra, Indonesia. Food served at a traditional iftar meal. Ramadan decoration in Jerusalem. Zakat donation box in Taipei, Taiwan. Fasting from dawn to sunset is forced or obligatory for all adult Muslims who are not acutely or chronically ill, traveling, elderly, breastfeeding, diabetic, or menstruating. The pre-dawn meal is referred to as suhur, and the nightly fast that break the fast is called iftar. Although fast fatwas have been issued declaring that Muslims who live in regions with a midnight sun or polar night should follow the timetable of Mecca. It is common practice to follow the timetable of the closest country in which night can be distinguished from days. The spiritual rewards or thawab of fasting or are believed to be multiplied during Ramadan. Accordingly, during the hours of fasting, Muslim refrain not only from food and drink, but also tobacco products, sexual relation, and sinful behavior, devoting themselves instead to salat or prayer and study of the Quran. From Muslim women who will perform fasting during the month of Ramadan, they are required to be clean from the period of menstruation and childbirth first. In fact, when someone has fasted until 5 p.m. but suddenly they menstruate, then that fast is not considered valid. 7. Not going on a long journey. One of the criteria for people who are allowed not to fast during the month of Ramadan is someone who is traveling long distance. It is permissible for people who are on a long journey not to fast first, but they are required to pay the debt of their fast by making up the number of days of fasting they missed, the valid requirement. In addition to some of the mandatory conditions above, Muslims also need to know about some of the legal conditions for fasting during Ramadan, which are religion of Islam and not an apostate or move to embrace another religion. Holy of menstruation and childbirth for Muslim women can distinguish between things that can have good and bad effect. Know about the time of acceptance of fasting properly and correctly. Information about the meaning, condition, and pillar of fasting for Ramadan must be known by all Muslims around the world. In this case, the existence of this article can help many people understand the requirements of Ramadan fasting more clearly. The general understanding of fasting is a voluntary activity carried out by all Muslims by refraining from eating, drinking, and doing bad things that are prohibited while carrying it out. However, the meaning of fasting according to Islamic law itself but will be slightly different from the previous understanding. Fasting according to Islamic law will have the meaning of a worship that is obligatory and can be done during the full month of Ramadan. Fasting will be carried out for a full month and end with the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, which can make Muslims feel happy because during this Eid al-Fitr celebration they can stay in touch with many people and make new memorable memories. During fasting, people must resting their last well. Later, people who fast can get more rewards and more abundant blessings. In fact, one of the virtues of Ramadan fasting is the eradication of sins. So, fasting can make a person reduce the sins that are in him by increasing worship during the month of Ramadan. All Muslims are required to know about the correct pillars of Ramadan fasting. This is because some of the pillars of fasting can determine whether a particular person fast is valid or not. Therefore, all Muslims are required to know it well. Basically, fasting is one of the obligations that must be carried out by all Muslims during the month of Ramadan. This worship can be performed during the month of Ramadan and from sunrise to sunset, so Muslims need a stronger faith. During fasting, people are not allowed to do things that can break the fast, such as smoking, having sex, eating, drinking, or even getting angry. So, before discussing the pillar of fasting, we will discuss its meaning first. Okay, maybe that's all I can say about Ramadan, more or less. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.